It's easier to see the beginning of things than to see the end. You know who wrote that? Joan Didion in 1967. Which leads me to the question that I get asked all the time, which is, do you need a degree in journalism to be in the media or to be a journalist? Well, one, to be in the media, definitely not. To be a journalist, the answer is no as well. You know what Katie Couric has a degree in? American Studies. Ben Shapiro was a lawyer. Tucker Carlson studied history. Jake Tapper studied history. Barbara Walters, degree in English. Hunter S. Thompson joined the Air Force. What do these people all have in common? They do not have a degree in broadcast journalism. So I think that pretty much answers the question right there and then. Now you could say, well, aren't these the exceptions that prove the rule? And no, they are the rule. I studied history. I don't have a degree in journalism. In fact, most journalists that are good generally don't have a degree in broadcast journalism. From the people that I've observed, the best journalists have the most wide view of society and history and culture. And the wider your view is on these things, both like internationally and domestically, the more you're able to not fall for silly things, like not fall for Covington kids cases or Jussie Smollett or, any sort of ridiculous press releases that you get sold on or things happening on Twitter. The people that fall for that kind of stuff do not have a very broad scope of history, human nature, culture, they just fall for things. A lot of journalists aren't that educated on the world, and that leads them to fall for hoaxes easily. I'll tell a personal story here, which was that in college, I was studying history, studying economic history with a background in the Roman Republic. I can tell you all about how Rome fell. Now, midway through college, I got really interested in making videos. And I thought there's not a lot of video stuff going on in my university. I'll reach out to the School of Journalism at this college, and I'll say hey, I'd love to make videos for you guys. And it took a little persuasion for them to meet me, but I eventually went up to the, J School building and met all the student writers and editors and journalists, right? I said, hey, I'd like to make videos to go along with your stories. Maybe I can do some things that will complement the website, the student newspaper website, because nobody reads the student hard copy newspaper anymore, right? You want stuff that's digital friendly. And they looked at me with suspicion and, well, you're not part of the J School and you don't have any background and we don't know you. And I eventually ended up making a few things for them. There's a couple people gracious enough to to take the chance on a fellow peer that had no idea what he was doing, just like them. But from the beginning, I realized something, which is that the student journalists, the people writing the student paper, are no more smart than anybody else. They're not smarter than people in engineering or the pre-med or history or English, nothing. They have no great insight on how to tell great stories or report out facts or get leads. That's a skill all on its own, and it's something kind of hard to teach. You kind of either have it or you don't. You can make some people slightly better writers, but the truly gifted writers just have it, just like the truly gifted reporters just know where to follow leads, know where to follow up, know the right people and contacts and networking. Now, something could be said for going to journalism school at a prestigious school to get those networks and those contacts, because often journalism is very dependent on networking and contacts, but that's true for the true utility of any university, right? People going to Harvard or Yale, they're not really going there to learn in the classroom and sit there with philosophy 101. No, the big value they're extracting from going to Harvard is, meeting the Prince of Dubai's son and meeting, the Russian oligarch's, daughter, and the future president of the United States and the future president of Zimbabwe, and you just bump into these people, and then you hit them up later in life. That's the real utility of the kind of Ivy League schools, is the networking. And so that could be said of journalism as well. But the actual educational part of journalism or J School or degree in journalism, nah, you don't need it. A lot of notable great journalists do not have a background in journalism. You do not need it at all. In fact, I think a lot of people, if they really want to just tell stories and report things, would be better off just hopping into it. Hop into some internships, hop into some freelance work. Don't worry about the classroom work so much. It's not going to really matter. You'd be better spent probably toe-to-toe. 50% of people going into journalism school right at this moment would be better spent not going into J School, learning engineering or biology, and just taking internships at writing magazines and publications in their free time. And they'll learn vastly more out in the private sector and also enhance a skill they otherwise wouldn't have, like biology or engineering or architecture, that would influence the way they view the world and make them a more sophisticated journalist than just studying media studies or J School. It just makes no sense. And this is true in my own life. You know, many of the journalists I know, they're business backgrounds and history backgrounds, English backgrounds. No, it's the people that have even master's degrees in broadcast journalism, in my mind, strike me as no smarter or more sophisticated or better journalists than those that do not. Anyway, hopefully that answers a little bit of a question. So if you're out there wondering, like, should I pursue a degree in journalism? I don't know. Think about it. Think about would if you really want to be a journalist, would you be better served by learning about other topics that you otherwise wouldn't know about, that would give you a more full and complex understanding of the world we live in, that would help shape you and make you a better journalist? Do you want to recommend a topic? Yeah, I'm always down to talk. Watch another video around here. See you guys tomorrow.